There was an entrepreneur meetup group in the city. A few hundred souls were on the app, but only a few library tables full went to the actual in-person events. After COVID-19, the group went virtual, but a handful started to meet separately in a park. At first, they all shared their individual pet projects, like one was to make a Roomba that followed you around and shot out vape smoke while it cleaned. They tried to be supportive and offer up tips, but none of them had experience as a legal business owner. One day in early May, the weather had dropped winter's last breath. Sitting on a park bench, one of the girls, who maybe was a serial killer, said sitting was making her legs so cold. One of them, who was on house arrest but left his ankle bracelet on his sick toddler he left home alone, said, "I have a sick idea." He took off one of his hoodies he was wearing too and put it over her legs. She said, "Touch me again and I'll kill you." He asked if she was a murderer. She said yes, and he called the cops and they all went to jail. Somewhere else in another part of the country, this other group of people were at a park on a chilly day, and some female said her legs were cold. And simultaneously, whatever muse prompted the one guy prompted this other guy to offer up a second hoodie over her jeans. They had just run through a list of ideas of businesses that no one felt inspired about. Then after the hoodie on top of the jeans, they all looked, said, "That's it. The world needs a hoodie for pants." They discussed all kinds of designs. Some thought thicker leggings, or thick snap-on track pants. Or some, who just wanted to work on other business ideas, said there already was snow pants, and this idea path was dumb. The group thinned out. Some went to join terrorist organizations, and others were Mormons on the end part of their 18-month missionary trip, and were looking for new businesses to start when they returned to Utah. The remaining members were worried that they had to rush to get their hoodies for pants to market before the Latter-day Saints. The Mormons had a large supply chain and lived clean, hard, working existences. The Mormons favored the thick legging style, but the girl who was cold and had the hoodie put over her legs disagreed. There was nothing hoodies about leggings. She didn't want to walk her puppy sometimes when it was cold. If she were honest, never. If it was cold, she would just chuck the pup out her apartment window, and if it came back, it was real love. But if it didn't, she'd just order a new one on Amazon. She would not bear the cold. It took too long to put on thick pants and tie her shoes. But if there was something quick to throw on, like a hoodie for her legs, she would be less likely to throw her dog from her 70th-floor window. It wasn't her fault the air got colder outside. She would walk her pup in the spring or summer and sometimes even the fall, but it took so long to bundle up and then unbundle in the winter. Was it the zipper that made the difference? The four Mormons were done with their 18-month missionary trip and were going to drive this idea right back to the Mormon Temple of Business. They were concerned that the leggings were not that modest, but maybe thicker ones wouldn't be so revealing. They wanted to make sure that no lines of the Mormon underwear would show under the leggings. One of the Mormon guys, called Joey, was having concerns about the Mormon faith but kept those private from the others. After his turn at the wheel, Joey went into one of the back seats and fell into a deep sleep. In his dream, Jesus appeared and gave him a different design than the leggings, but he warned him not to take it to the temple. Joey woke up and was anxious. He had from now until the end of the road trip to decide if he should tell the others about this new design or if the dream was just a run-of-the-mill, forgettable one. It was his turn to drive again, and he put in his headphones and listened to some Tim Ferriss podcast. He slapped the wheel and was laughing. Sarah, who was in shotgun, asked him what was so funny. He said he knew it all now, the whole design, and now how to market it, but Sarah said, "Okay, well." Joey said, "I could tell you, or I could show you." He put in his GPS for the nearest Salvation Army. Inside the Salvation Army, Sarah said it smells like my grandmother's attic. Joey led them over to the blanket section. He said, "If it's true, what Solomon wrote, that there's nothing new under the sun, then we just have to look to the past. Jesus said no one was robed as exquisite as Solomon. How did Solomon, the wisest person, deal with winter clothing?" Joey paused to let them come to the conclusion themselves. Sarah said, "We're running late. we gotta get to Temple tonight. So if you could just get to the point. Joey tapped his head. Oh, I forgot. Guess what the ad's going to be? You know how Tim Ferriss in his podcast is always talking about MeUndies and going, ladies, if you want to know what MeUndies I'm in. Sarah said, I gotta stop you there. I know you think you have this creative idea, but this is borderline perverted gibberish. If you have all this extra mental energy, you should devote it towards researching successful business elders like Elder Mitt Romney and Elder Glenn Beck. One of the Salvation Army employees came over and asked if they needed help. Joey said, we're doing research for a project. We'll buy stuff. We just need a few minutes to discuss. The employee put her headphones back in and said whatever. Joey said, wait, we do need help. Can we get your opinion on something? The employee shrugged. Joey asked, do you know who Tim Ferriss is? The employee said no. Joey pulled out his phone to the podcast app he was listening to. It had Tim's picture on it. Joey said, this is Tim. He's this author, podcaster guy. He has all these tips on how to get more done every day. The employee scrunched her face and said, you want to know if we have his book or something? Books are over there. Joey asked her, do you watch YouTube? The employee said, no, I'm the only one who doesn't. Joey pulled out the YouTube app and played a video of Tim Ferriss talking with a very serious expression on his face. Joey was holding the phone so the employee could see it. Joey said, okay, so you're on YouTube, and up pops this ad. See how Tim's brow is frowned, and he's talking real serious about being super productive? Say someone was parroting this, Tim guy, and the guy parroting says, if you want to be like Elon Musk and get people to Mars, a world-class achiever, squeezing every optimal minute, and as he's talking, the camera's traveling down him, and he's wearing a diaper. He says, I have a buddy of mine from NASA who told me about astronauts wear these. NBA players are wearing these too. So, would you click skip or keep watching to see where this ad was going? The employee said, Sarah said, I'm sorry, he's not feeling well. He's having an emotional breakdown. We just got done from a long trip away from home. Sarah started to walk out and the other missionaries followed. Joey asked the employee again, then jogged out to the group on their way to the car. Joey said, that was a little rude. You guys left without hearing how I laid out a whole new design. I have the whole hoodie created up to how to market it, and you want to treat me like a freak show? Sarah started the car with an automatic button. She said, you embarrassed us. Talking about some guy in a diaper? What does that have to do with a female hoodie for pants? Joey was about to defend the marketing. That was just to get attention, but he remembered the warning from the dream. Instead, he asked, are you guys going to Mitt Romney about the thicker joggers? Sarah said, of course, we're going to follow the temple guidelines and submit our idea to the elders. Joey backed up from the car. He said, okay, I'm going to stay here. Sarah said, what? We have to get back for temple tonight. Stop with all this wasting time and get in the car. Joey said, I can't. It's the last days. Sarah said, our church is called Latter-day Saints. We know that. Joey said, if you bring me back, I'm going to tell Mitt about me diapers and the Tim Ferriss ad. Sarah and the others drove off to Salt Lake City. Joey went back into the Salvation Army and talked with a couple of the employees. He asked to pay them to be in a concept video. That night, as the store was closing, they shot the Kickstarter video for Hoodies for Pants. The girl, who didn't know who Tim Ferriss was walking out of the door of the thrift store. Outside, she was shivering, rubbing her thighs. She said, the thing I hate about going out in the cold is my legs are always so cold. A jump cut, and now she was in snow overalls and walking back into the building. She said, but if I wear something on my legs that keeps me warm for the outside weather, then I instantly feel uncomfortably warm once inside. She fell down trying to get out of the overalls, rolling, trying to kick her legs out, saying, it takes so long, and it's so embarrassing taking these off. Next, she held a picture of a dog up on her phone. She said, me and my dog are robbed every year for months of our daily walks. which I know gives us all kinds of energy and good vibes for the day. Another jump cut, she was walking on a not plugged in treadmill. Sure, I can hop on this, but what about my dog? What about if I had 3 dogs? Next jump cut, she was over by the book section. She said, the solution was an ancient one. She waved her hand at the books on the shelf. Now she had a blanket over her shoulders, which ran down to her toes. She was pointing to a painting on the wall with a nature scene. You could have that as a print on your robe. Or she pointed to a poster with a futuristic neon cityscape. Any design you could think of. Now she was in leggings and a tank top. The robe would just go over whatever you felt comfortable indoors in. The robe covers your whole body. You could accessorize it with a belt or skip it. You snap a photo of you and we take your measurements. Now you won't trip on it like a blanket. She stepped on the blanket and fell over. On the floor, she said, if people look at you weird, just say you're okay with a Snuggie indoors, and this robe, you don't have to fit your head through it or have dull patterns. She held up a Snuggie, demonstrating her head getting choked in the neck hole. She was again rolling on the floor in snow overalls. She said, you can waste time taking on and off layers or jump cut. She was walking out the door in a tank top and leggings. She said, you can be wise like Solomon and just throw a robe on. A blanket was thrown at her and she walked out the door.